I've just hit 2 billion kill points, and I got this idea from a viewer who commented on my video, so shout out to him. And today we're going to talk about my commander choices and why did I choose them, my experience with them, equipment, armaments, and so on. Starting things off with Nevsky, I don't need to tell much about his skills and how useful he is. He's just arguably the best commander in the game. Don't need to say more. And I do have to say more about his skills here, and I was honestly surprised because in all my reports he usually trades the most positive, and I expected like 10 million, but I'm not worried. He'll just gonna be a total monster for the next good time to come. For the equipment, I'm going for the 4-piece calorie set. I like the bonuses, and I got lucky with the health pieces here along the way. As for the armaments, I also got pretty lucky, and I consider my calorie march the best I have on my account, pretty much overall when it comes to pairings, equipment, and armaments. Here, this is a good hunter candidate, and I might do it. Actually, you know what? Just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna do it because I want to reroll this attack to calorie, and I hope he gets at least above 2%. So yeah, let's do it. Boom. Now it's even better. Now it's even better. This one is pretty solid as well. Just need to re-roll it. This I use just for the inscription, nothing special. Same here, inscription. I got over 20% of stats with everything combined, and now with the hunter I just do more damage. Yeah, my calorie is the best. Moving on to Trajan. Now Trajan is, well, it was controversial at the time. I decided to max him because I'm a free to play. I don't really benefit from him, and I did invest a lot of heads in him. But if you ask me now, do I regret? Answer is hell no. I know his not purpose is to get kills or anything. His purpose is to buff your marchers and your allies, and that's what I try to do with my equipment choices. I want to make him as durable as possible, so I got a lot of defensive stats and debuffs, and same thing with the armaments. I try to get a lot of these inscriptions that do a lot of troop health, defense, attack, things like that. And overall, he's great. I use him with T4s so he doesn't get expensive. He stays a lot on the field. Sometimes he gets ignored completely, and that makes my other marches durable. Sometimes he gets targeted, and then my other marches completely wreck the attacking march. So I have no regrets whatsoever maxing Trajan. Now, should you now max Trajan? I don't think so. Maybe if you're a real high spender, then you can afford to, then yeah. Otherwise, just don't do it. Guan Yu is the next, and probably the one with the most skills I have because I used him for 3 years. I used him with a lot of commanders, and now I use him with Sargon. The equipment you see is a 2-piece infantry bonus, and I didn't really upgrade it that much, honestly. And I have focused on my calorie march for the most part, but I do plan to make some changes in the future. But my armaments here are decent. As you can see, I have probably close to 20% stats when you look at it. Got some good inscriptions and some epics. But overall, Guan is someone who stood the test of time. I do not regret maxing. He was great for all these years, and he's probably on his way out, but we don't know that for sure. I hope the next infantry is like an upgraded version of Guan, if that makes sense. So Guan, I paired him with Sun Tzu, with Alex, with Leonidas, and now with Sargon, and he worked well with everyone. So you can't go wrong with Guan on the field, honestly. If you can't go wrong with Guan, then you surely can't go wrong with Scipio Prime either. As you can see, nearly 10 million kills. When he came out, I had at the time some heads hoarded up, so I expertised him relatively quickly for my standards. and he is just a beast as well. I don't need to say how good he is, and he pretty much has everything you need for the open field as an infantry player. Now, obviously, my gear has lots of things to get fixed, and that is in the process. But even with this type of gear, and the armaments I have on him are pretty decent too. You can see I have like probably close to 20% too, especially because I have 6% health from the inscriptions. And this was something I inscribed from the KVK because it's a perfectly health roll, and I'll try to get more infantry stats from transmuting. And as for the other ones, yeah, I'm using just for the inscription. This is also inscribed from the inscription chest, and this is something to be improved on. Overall, I use Scipio with Guan. Now I use Scipio with Alexander. And yeah, I just hope he also pairs well with the next infantry commander. Honestly, there's no regrets. And if you're working on infantry, then you should have this dude maxed. No question about it. William is still a G after nearly 4 years. Well, 3 years. And as you can see, my kills, I paired him with Saladin. Now I use him with Nevsky. His active skill is still unique, and his fourth skill is still too good for the open brawls, and that's why I decided to max him. Now you could leave him at 5-5-5-1, but I wanted to make it really pop. I wanted to max him, and I do not regret maximing either. He's just a great overall commander to have, regardless of your spending level. Sargon. Sargon is my latest addition, and obviously doesn't have a lot of kills yet. And I paired him with Guan, and he doesn't really benefit from these fast-paced open field fights because he needs his active skill to latch onto the target. But I chose Sargon because he has a lot of debuffs that are really good in a murder boss situation. Obviously, they make the target take more skill damage is always great. And I wanted to have an infantry second march, which would be meta. And I hope the next commander really pairs well with Sargon. Cao Cao was, interesting enough, my first expertise commander back in KVK 3. I used him with Saladin. All these skills are from like in the early game, and then doing some farm killing, joining garrisons, rallies, and so on. He's a gold key commander. You will have him maxed sooner or later. Nothing. I can't say I regret maxing him because there is nothing to regret. And same with Mehmed. Mehmed, I expertised, I think, yeah, it wasn't that long ago. But I still haven't really used him because I feel like I got better options. And I used him in like Rally Garrison, and I decided to max him because I was really close from completion, and I wanted to have that glow. Mehmed is great for the early game, but for the late game, when you have more options which offer more than just damage, like buffs, debuffs, then he gets down the pecking order. Speaking of buffs and debuffs, Mulan is definitely someone I maybe over invested, like over 200 heads. But do I regret those heads? No. Mulan just makes your marches stronger and makes your target take as much more damage as it can. And I use him with Trajan, obviously with all T4s. It doesn't cost that much, but the pros outweigh the cons. And eventually you will have her maxed, but you can use her at 5511, 5515, and you're good to go. Aethelflaed, I mean, we're all use her, but I didn't really use her much in the PvP aspect, just for peacekeeping options. YSG, someone I expertise relatively late, 2022, And I expertised him because I wanted to have a chaining march for barbarians, and just recently, like over 6 months ago, I paired him with Boudica, and that's why he got some kills, which are relatively low. Alex was a beast, and it still is, but not as effective as he was, let's be honest. But he still provides a lot, and I still use him. He was paired with Guan for the most part, as you can see by the kills, and I do not regret maxing him at all. He's just a G. All his skills are relevant for the open field, for bastion skills, auxiliary skills, and I made a dedicated video for him, why I still think he's good. Elcid, now this could be a case of do I regret him, because I did use him in the Ark of Osiris before when I swarmed things like the buildings, so that's where I get his skills from, and yeah, he's just not good enough in the late game. He's just a transitional type of commander. Same with Charles Martel. I didn't really much get to use him in the early game as much, maybe like in KVK 1 or 2, and I used him with Richard, and yeah, a long time ago. Cleopatra, yeah, just gathering, and nothing special about her. Frederick is just very useless, and his main part is my expertise because I want the true capacity when I decide to join a rally or garrison. Seondeok, same thing, a gatherer, and I won a strategic reserves event for her just because I want to get an expertise, but nothing special about her too. Same with Ishida. My main philosophy when investing into commanders is invest into commanders who have a lot of utility, so things like march speed and relevant stats for the open field, like defense, health, all damage, things like that. And second, they have to do some type of buffing, debuffing on the active skill or any other skill, and preferably they do AoE damage. So with those metrics, my next commander investment should be someone like Zuge, because he ticks all of those boxes except the march speed, but that's something that can be, accounted for. But my plan for the time being is to save up heads for the new infantry, which should be out in like 2 months maybe at the earliest, and then try to have a meta pair with Sargon and the new infantry commander, if that's possible. And that's it. If you guys like the video, subscribe. If you have any questions, let them post them down below. Join our Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.